Hey, do you got your Munster? Do you have your 10th anniversary of issue of Heaven's Metal magazine? Well, it's time to start. So, with this particular issue, we've got something to talk about. It's looking back at issue number 54, the 10th anniversary issue of Heaven's Metal magazine. And because it was a special anniversary, we decided to make a special fold-out cover to show all previous 53 covers of the magazine, starting with number 1 right here, which I kind of cheated and I used the original master copy. You know, back in the day it was a fanzine, it was cut and paste. I used a handwritten pen, you know, the kind of pen that you write on your hand with, and photographs with double sticky tape, and that was the master. I used that, took it down to a Kinko's copy shop to make. So the master copies had color photos, but of course they were mimeographed or Xeroxed off as black and white. And I did the same thing with another striper cover, issue number 6, using the color master. And this particular cover was one of the first covers I had done. I had just gotten a scanner and using the software, probably PageMaker at this time. I don't think I had Quark yet. I might have had Quark. Anyway, and this was one of the first uses of the gradient, where I went from this color to this color and scanned in the logo and placed it on there. It's funny, there's a couple times in the history of Heaven's Metal where somebody in the band, in this particular case Jimmy Brown, asked me, where did you get that photo, after the magazine had already come out? And my source was always like a member of the band or something. I never kind of purposely used a photo nobody liked. But anyway, this was a really awesome issue to work on. I even used a childhood photo of a birthday party to commemorate the birthday of Heaven's Metal. And so diving in, we have a Crash Dog ad, we have Neon Cross ad from Rugged Records, which I think at this time was called Patriot Records. Patriot Records was a record label that Michael Betts, the original drummer for Neon Cross, started. And funny story, later on in the early 90s, Garth Brooks had a new record label that he named Patriot Records and released a few videos on country music television, and they found out, this is wrong, that label Patriot is already owned, and the owner of the label has that incorporated in the state of Delaware. So the lawyers for Patriot, Michael Betts, had the other lawyers exactly where they wanted them, and they got $250,000 to purchase the name Patriot Records. And so that's when Patriot became Rugged, and I was mistaken there. They'd already changed their name to Rugged by this time. This was 1995, 10 years after 1985, which was when the magazine launched. So anyway, it's funny to get caught up in looking at ads in these old issues. Here's Plank Eye, and look at the raw nature of the advertisements. Table of contents, there's a Starflyer 59 photograph from a performance they did at a local Christian bookstore called Theophilus in Austin, Texas, y'all. Some interesting stories in here. I won't go over the table of contents, we'll go to the actual contents. Letters to editor section. I have a friend named Steve Smutzer who, from the early days of Heaven's Metal onward, donated artwork, and this is one of his pieces of art to signify the editor of the magazine waiting by the mailbox getting letters from people. See if we had any celebrity or interesting letters come in this one. Alice is a drag queen, some Larry Norman lyrics. I hope you continue to produce such high quality because Jesus Christ is worth every bit, and then some. A Striper tribute. I'm an avid fan. The Striper tribute issue, the prayer chain. So this person did not like the Striper tribute album that Flying Tart REX Records put out. Picking on Pinnock. Greetings from Heaven's Metal. You guys are doing a great job. I'm writing an interview with Doug Pinnick of King's X. I think we need to get behind our brother instead of raking him all the time. How can anybody try to tell Doug he's not doing God's will? God uses us all differently. He's the one who tells us what to do, not man. Leave this guy alone. Somebody should write a song, Leave Doug Pinnick alone! Leave Doug Pinnick alone! But I'm getting confused with my own band, Lust Control. We had an album called We Are Not Ashamed. This is the re-release of it. And we have a song called Leave Amy Alone. And it ends with, Leave Amy Grant alone! Leave Amy Grant alone! Leave Amy Grant alone! There it is, track number 2 on the album. Anyway, there's the original cover of it. Anyway, getting distracted. Sorry. Need to drink more coffee, but not this kind. This is what coffee in the 70s sucked, man. Anyway, so this person's writing in. Somebody else is calling in to write about Doug Pinnick and Rob Walker. Artist Reed. He's thanking us for the book review section that we started doing in the magazine. Crucified Comparisons. Greetings from a punk hardcore alternative guy from Rochester, New York, named Sean Finity. I love your magazine tons, but I have one complaint. Why does every person that does a hardcore album review compare the band to the Crucified? Good point, man. Money talks. I've noticed a problem in the Christian music industry, but unlike many, I have a solution. I'd like to share it with all of you. To me, it makes no sense that we want all those great Christian bands to get secular distribution, but don't make it worth their while by buying their music at secular stores. So I guess he's telling us to go buy our music at Walmart and stuff. And this solution could have been what killed the Christian music industry, because the big box stores like Walmart underpriced the mom and pa Christian bookstores and put them out of business. It's a fact. I just bought a Christian CD, Weapons of Our Warfare, but I'm feeling kind of weird about it. The thing is, I've always been a faithful Christian bookstore customer because I think we need to keep our money in the Christian industry. It's funny, 2 letters back to back under the heading Money Talks. Man, whoever edited this magazine was a genius or got lucky or something. Always been a faithful Christian bookstore customer because I think we need to keep our money in the Christian industry, you know, to help build it up. Anyway, I bought this album at one of those used CD stores. I've also bought at least 7 others there and at other used CD stores. Basically, I'm paying about $7 for something I can get right away, or I can order it at a Christian bookstore and pay $15 or $16. A good friend of mine just got Tourniquet Stop the Bleeding, Pathogenic Ocular Dissonance, and Deliverance's Stay of Execution for a grand total of about $22. That's some vintage stuff, but shouldn't be. And I would have done the same had I beat him to it. I strongly believe there's still a market for heavy metal Christian, especially material from the days of Silence is Madness, which I desperately desire to see printed on CD. That's from David Eggleston of Shreveport, Louisiana. Sometime Mikey. Thank you for the super article on Sometime Sunday. Awesome. I'm mad. First of all, I'd like to say I just saw the review for Misguided by Argyle Park, and I'm pretty pissed off. In the review, you, SN, Spiny Norman, I wonder if that was me. I wonder if my pen name, Spiny Norman, because it was a Monty Python skit on the Piranha Brothers. Spiny Norman was a 17-foot tall hedgehog that Dinsdale and Doug used to see. Anyway, so I guess to say that Drown ripped off Mortal is absurd. And nothing more than a typical closed-minded Christian opinion. Could it be due to the fact that Mortal was a Christian band and Drown is not? I think that's the case here. 2 words, wake up. And this particular person that wrote this was Darren Dialosa, aka Clank. Hey, there's a celebrity letter we were looking for. And there's even an editor's note. Ed, are you a little sensitive here? Wow. Editor's being harsh. So here we have a concert review with, look, there's Chris of Red Sea fame. Wow, that's kind of cool. Red Sea is such a great band. And here is Barren Cross with Mike Lee and Jim Laverty. And wow, here's a picture of Ty Tabor accompanying Rez Band on stage in Nashville. How cool was that? And here is a picture of a bunch of music people, musos as they call them in Great Britain, at the HM Magazine sponsored Artist versus Industry flag football game. How about that? The Crucified returns to Cornerstone. Big news. Man, they were always so great live. Always so great. So this was a really cool moment. King's X, which was like, man, this great, incredible band that we all love because believers were making art in the mainstream, and they played Woodstock of all places, man. And we got kind of the down low and an interview from the band about what that experience was like, and there's a live photo of Doug Pinnick on stage at Woodstock. This photo right here shows part of the massive crowd they had there, and what an experience. And an article on mortification talking about Primitive Rhythm Machine, which included a song co-written by Doug Van Pelt, whoever that is, called Mephibosheth. Campus Life did an ad in Heaven's Metal. I think that was a trade I did with Campus Life. I had an ad for Heaven's Metal in their magazine, and they had an ad for Campus Life in Heaven's Metal magazine. Another tooth and nail ad that was very raw and almost DIY. Water stain ad, and look, a Starflyer 59 story. More on Star 59 in a minute. Gonna get to that. Chris Calloway wrote that. Here's again, we recently got our hands on a scanner at the Heaven's Metal offices, and so we were scanning backgrounds and ghosting them in the background like a watermark behind the page to give it some depth. Resurrection Band gets raw. This must be, maybe that's the Appendectomy album they did. Plank Eye article with more background stuff behind the text. Friends don't let friends die without Jesus. One of the many t-shirt ads in the pages of Heaven's Metal. Ooh, look, an article on Zaxxus, kind of a metal band on a mainstream label. And interesting, congratulations for the 10-year anniversary of Heaven's Metal magazine. It's always cool when advertisers did that. Here's another one. Congrats to Heaven's Metal for 10 years. We thank you. Rugged Records. Here's a Tom Festival ad. How about that? September 1 through 4. Music in the Gorge. This must have been the very first one because it doesn't say T2 or T3. Yada, yada, yada. Tickets were $22 for the entire weekend. How about that? And if you were a child 0 to 5 years old, you got in free. I think my daughter got in free in 1 year because of that, because she went when she was young. Kayla Grace. Here's the little layout for the album review section. Kind of vertical alternating stripes of black and white. And no, these are our staff picks. And Charles Gates, who passed away almost 2 years ago now. Pillars of Humanity, The Crucified was his pick. It's a Jungle Out There by Mastodon. And Rage of Angels, self-titled, that's a great pick by Charles. Fire and Love by Guardian, which is my favorite of theirs. Get It by Ex-Sinner, Snakes in the Playground by Bride, Lucis by Mortal, Beyond Belief by Petra, Against the Law by Stryper, which is my favorite Stryper album still, and Gretchen Goes to Nebraska by King's X. It's loud and clear music. Haha. Whatever Happened to Messiah Prophet? Those are the kind of cool articles we should have done more of in Heaven's Metal. We did them on occasion, but there's always bands that kind of disappeared from the scene, and it's like catching up with them. We could do like a whole magazine again talking about what happened to a lot of these bands. Z Music Television, and there's an article on Z Music Television. They used to advertise, and it was like the Christian version of MTV that was on some satellite, Gaylord Entertainment Company. You had to have satellite or some sort of cable television that picked it up. But they had Brimstone Chronicles, hosted by this guy, Brian Blummer. And they used to talk about Heaven's Metal magazine. They used to kind of share some of the hard news that we would send them. And they would play Christian metal videos. And we're getting close to the poster. Who's going to be the poster in the 10th anniversary issue? Is it going to be like, you know, George Ochoa or Jimmy Brown or Larry Farkas or Rex Carroll or Oz Fox or David Zafiro, what guitar hero is going to be in this particular 10th anniversary issue. We're going to get there soon. I talked with Reed Arvin. He wrote a novel about the Christian music industry. You know, it was very insightful, and it kind of said some things about the industry that needed to be said. It was cool. He's a cool guy. And we started doing artist book reviews, where we'd take one of our artists like Michael Bloodgood, who is with Jesus now, and had him review some books, some current books we would have shipped to him. Oh, there it is. Look, it's Jason Martin of Starflyer 59. What a poster. And look, it's got the photo credit on the mic stand. How about that? That was a big moment for Heaven's Metal, adopting the alternative into the mix of hard music. And some people just still hate me for that, but I've always been about the electric guitar. The electric guitar turned up really loud, and of course metal capitalizes on that, but so did alternative rock. And if it didn't, we covered some lo-fi stuff, but we mostly majored on hard music. It had to be hard. Independent ad. We started having radio and sales charts in the magazine. In sales, Going Public by the Newsboys was the top Christian rock album. So excited about rock. When you get really excited about metal, like Carry the Wounded by Tourniquet was number 2. In radio, Angry Sun by 6 Feet Deep was number 1. How about that? How about that? Tour date section. Back in the day, before the internet was thriving, you got your information from magazines. What Cinderella Says. This is going to be in volume 3 of Rock Stars on God, which I'm working on right now. And Black Eyed Siva, love that band. Look, we gave away a guitar, and I had my local post office mailman pose with the guitar for our contest. That was cool. That was always fun. It was a vintage guitar we gave away. And concert review by The Blamed. Look who's playing drums there. Wow, Jim Chaffin. That dude's an amazing drummer. I think I'm always impressed when any musician sits in with a band and learns their tunes like that and plays them live. Savior Machine live in Deutschland, the CD and the DVD. So cool, so cool. No, just the VHS. Sorry, no, not DVD. Album reviews: the Drop album by Bride, which was very controversial because it changed their sound a little bit. It wasn't what people were expecting. Resurrection Band, Limit, Christian rock, friend or foe. I bet that sold a few copies just because people wanted something to be able to defend Christian rock to their parents. Sometime Sunday, MXPX, Teenage Politics. Wow. I've been jumping up and down frantically for 2 days now. It's not just because Doug bought me some chocolate-covered espresso beans or because I've had to go to the bathroom. I've had sort of an audio sugar rush. Every song on MXPX's Teenage Politics is very fast, very loud, and quite rollicking. There we go, Ken Tamplin in the witness box. And look at these ads for REX Records. Oh, who's that? And Soul Shock Remedy. And look at these people by the jukebox. How about that? We're talking 1995, in the midst of the alternative music revolution. Jonathan Pagano of Novella had his own solo album, Shadow Dance. And we had the HM hotline. You could call this number toll-free, 900. Well, it wasn't toll-free, it cost money. And you would get news and concert dates that I would pick up the phone and record it into this memory bank or whatever, and it would play back for you. People did it. All right, here is Smash Alley Underground. A lot of people remember this David A. Walker dude who was Mr. On Fire and liked to market his stuff. Brenda Christine, don't know, haven't heard from that person in forever. Foundations Forum, we had a stage there, and so they did ads for us. And Guardian had the Swing Swang Swung album, which I really like. I remember seeing those songs live. Bare Bones, speaking of Mike Lee and Baron Cross, that was his kind of solo project. And there's a bunch of our merch there. We were selling the compilation album, the box set, and the video mags, and the hats and t-shirts that Truth Clothing did for us. Back issue highlighted a back issue. Licks and Tricks by Jeff Sheets, a guitar column we had in the magazine forever. Glenn Rowland's ad, another independent artist. The Christian in Art by Kemper Crab. This is a still photo from the Atomic Opera, one of their early videos from their For Mad Men Only album. I can't remember, Joyride I think was the song. And Kemper was dressed as a priest, and there's a picture of him laughing from the thing. Camelot Records, mainstream record store, did a congratulations ad for the 10th anniversary. This was a cool point in our history when a mainstream secular chain record store advertised in every issue of the magazine, and they would highlight different Christian hard music releases. And Fresh in Blood, Pastor Bob had a column in the magazine forever. And there's the Bride Drop advertisement. And this ad got us in trouble. A mother of a subscriber wrote in and said, "This come hither look by this girl sends the wrong message that if you play guitar, you can, hook up with girls and have premarital sex." That was kind of the vibe of it, and ended up becoming friends with the person who wrote that letter, but we argued back and forth about the appropriateness of this ad. And whenever we had like guitar companies and music companies advertising with us, that was a good sign for us. And there's like a Teenage Politics, John Neeson design, the Poking At Ya Punk guy. And there we go. So I've spent way too long talking about the 10th anniversary issue, but so join the discussion. Tell me what I did wrong, and vent a little bit. If you're Clank, you need to see that your letter was talked about, and you need to just chime in and join the discussion amongst everybody else. And see this little guy in the background here playing saxophone. It's a cool little statue, and there's a cowbell and a drumstick right there. And join the discussion.